of them are atheists. So they meditating, they studying these things, they practice, they receive huge benefit. Unfortunately, many we Buddhists have nothing. They don't get anything. There are very profound, important message there, but they have no idea how to take it, and they have no idea what that message is, and that is why they don't receive any benefit. That is why today I want to share a little bit about meditation. Meditation is not only for the monks and nuns. Meditation is for everybody's, like from teenage to till one of the oldest person. You know, and meditation is not just kind of uh, uh, miracle power or something. It's not about the miracle power. It's simple mental exercise. So in order to live healthy mind, peaceful, happy mind, you need to exercise your mind, right? In order to live physically healthy, we exercise physically. You go to the gym, you go to the morning, jogging, all kind of things you're doing to exercise your physical body to keep your body healthy. Exactly the same, in order to live your mental healthy, you need to exercise your mind, and that's called the meditation. If you go very simple way. So now for the Buddhist, why this meditation is important for the Buddhist? The reason is Buddha says the suffering which we do not want it, right? All of us, we do not want it. We always wish to free from the sufferings. We adopt the religion, faith, Buddhism as a Buddhist. It's only the reason is to overcome your sufferings. Right? That's why we adopt it. Nobody force us, you should be, follow this religion or that religions. It's individual. And now we adopt your faith or religion. Its main our purpose is to overcome our sufferings. But in order to overcome your sufferings, how should we release our suffering? What's mean by suffering? How to deal with the sufferings? So in this planet, there are many great teachers came in this planet, give variety information. That's why all the variety religion around there in these planets, it's one of the common purposes to overcome sufferings, right? That's the common goal. But each religious teachers give different information and how to deal with this sufferings. So general, when we talk about religion, there are mainly two types of the belief. It is very important to know these things. There are two types of the belief. One believer, they believed everything's created by God, right? So it's called the godly religion, theistic religion. In this planet, most of the major religion follow that beliefs. For instance, Hindu, Jewish, Christian, Islam, all these, great other religious believed God is the creator, right? Called the godly religions. And there are certain religions, they not believe creator. It's called the godless religion, right? So among there, Jainism, right? And Buddhist and Sangha tradition, the number of faith who believe God-less religion, right? So Buddhist is part of that, no creator. So everything creates by its own causes conditions, right? Every result comes from its own causes conditions. So that's the fundamental. Now, from the Buddhist perspective, how to deal with the suffering, which means I mentioned earlier, everything's created by causes condition. So if you do not want the suffering, you need to understanding these sufferings are caused by whom? What are the causes conditions of this suffering? So if you do not want this suffering, you need to stop that causes condition. You need to overcome these causes of sufferings. If you don't stop the causes, and then result, definitely it will be rapid, right? The result will be rapid. If causes is there, result will always be comes. So that is why, from that perspective, it's called the law of causality, right? It's called the Buddhist. When we talk about the view, the right view, there are two different right view. One called mundane right view. One is called supramundane right view. So the mundane right view, which means every results created by its own causes conditions. Everything created by its own causes conditions. It's called the law of karma. So the karmas are the causes, right? Then result, good karma, good result, bad karma, bad result, right? Good causes, good result, bad causes, bad result. So that kind of relationship is called the what you call mundane right view, mundane right view. So to understanding the relationship between cause and effect, it's very, very important. First, as a Buddhist practitioners, understanding how things arises, how things created, it's created by its own causes condition. That is why the Buddha, the first, when he teach the Dharma, he taught Four Noble Truths, right? All of you might be know about that, Four Noble Truths, right? Do you know the Four Noble Truths? You do not know? How many people do not know the Four Noble Truths? Put there something. How many people? You do not know one guy there? Anybody? Rest of you all? Oh, she also know. Don't know. Oh. So rest of you all know Four Noble Truths, right? The three of them. Okay. Four Noble Truths is very, very important as a Buddhist. We need to understand. That's the first Buddha taught us. Consider oneself as a Buddhist, right? You do not know Four Noble Truths. That means it's really something, what you call not right, right? There's something missing there. So it's very, very important to know that. So the Four Noble Truths, which are the first called the truth of suffering, right? The truth of suffering, which we are today, right? We suffer, the truth of suffering. Second noble truth is the truth of origin of suffering, which means the causes of suffering, right? And the third, called the cessations of suffering, right? The freedom of suffering, the cessation of suffering. And the last truth is called the truth path, the path who leads to that cessation, right? So suffering, causes of suffering, cessations of suffering, and truth path. So these Four Noble Truths, if you really understand, not just only the word, how it works, then you might be get little understanding the concept, the Buddhist concept, what's meant by Buddhism, you can get a little bit understand, because the Four Noble Truths will explain you the very simple Buddhist philosophy or the Buddhist belief. So now, truth of suffering, which means if you do not understanding the suffering as a sufferings, how can you overcome your suffering, right? In order to eliminate, free from suffering, first you need to know, right, suffering as a suffering. Like if you have some kind of illness, the disease, in order to free from that illness, first you need to diagnose what kind of disease is. If you do not know what kind of disease is, how can you treat that disease? Impossible, right? Exactly the same. So in order to overcome sufferings, first you need to know what are the sufferings. So today, the majority in human beings, our understanding of suffering is a very gross level of suffering. It's called suffering of poor, suffering of illness, suffering of old age, suffering of death, right? And mental suffering, suffering of stress, depression, fear, worry, anxiety, right? That kind of, only we know that type of suffering. So we think in order to overcome suffering or poor or need the money, right? That's all. So your understanding of suffering is a very, very gross level. Therefore, to solution to this problem, in order to fix this problem, just material can help you. That's why to have money, to have power, to have a good reputation, right? They're only seeking this material because this material can help for the certain type of the sufferings. That is why we put all our effort for the materialistic. Our life become materialistic. But the Buddha taught us, right now our understanding of suffering is very, very surface level of suffering. There are some kind of suffering which is much deeper there. It's very hard to know. So if you know this suffering, then you can get much better idea how to deal with these sufferings, right? So first, when he taught the suffering, it's called suffering of suffering, which I mentioned earlier. Our physical problem, our mental problem, family problem, nation problem, the war, killing each other, all kind of these things called suffering of suffering, right? That's everybody knows. Now there is a second level of suffering called suffering of changing. So suffering of changing, many people in this planet, they do not know these other sufferings. So what are the suffering of changing? Suffering of changing, which means the mundane pleasure. In general, the life people think this is happiness, right? What are the suffering of changing? Or suffering of changing, which means when they first appear, it looks like happiness, joy, pleasure. But that joy never remain as a joy. It will turn into problem, sufferings. That's called suffering of changing. For instance, somebody, when they first drink alcohol, they might be very happy. Oh, it's very enjoying drinking alcohol, right? Then you drink too much, eventually you're drunk. Then you drunk, then slowly, it creates now problems, your health problems, right? Then next day you have this problem, that problem. There are many other problems. Sometimes it's become addiction on these things. So many problems will come after. So that happiness not remain as a happiness. It's turned into many problems. So today, the many teenagers, when we're making many mistakes, at the moment you looks like joy, But after that, it brings huge, big problems we do not know. Like, for instance, when you play the video game, at the moment you enjoy it, right? Then slowly, slowly you become addicted. Then when you're addiction, then you always, every day you play. Then because of that, then it can affect your education, right? It can affect your physical health problems. Then next time, your test will be not good. You will be not finish your education. Then your parents will be suffer. You will be suffer. You pay so much money to this college. Eventually, you don't get anything. You lose everything because of uneducated, because not having enough certificate. You cannot find a good job. Now whole life is suffer. All this suffering come from where? Just moment enjoy with the video games, right? So these are called suffering of changing. If the moment you looks like happy, but it's not happiness, it will turn into suffering. So most of our pleasures, the joy which we're thinking are from the Buddhist perspective, these are not the true happiness. They all turn into suffering, called suffering of changing, right? Then there's a one big problem called suffering of pervasive conditioning that only Buddhists maybe knows. Suffering of changing, maybe even non-Buddhists, really smart people, they can understand these things. If I smoke too much, it can affect to my health. If I drink too much, it can affect to my health. It can affect to our lives. So if you use the drugs, it can destroy this. So at the moment you're enjoying, but after that, it will bring lots of problems. Because of that reason, they're avoiding not drinking, not using alcohol, all kinds of things, because they know that pleasure is not the real pleasure, right? It will turn into suffering. Even non-Buddhists, the smart people will know. But the last suffering, the suffering of pervasive conditioning, it's called suffering of pervasive conditioning. That suffering only, I think, the Buddhists maybe understand, right? Buddha's taught about. What is that suffering? It's like stuffing of 5 aggregates, which means your body, your minds, right? Your emotion, the feeling you have, your discrimination, your consciousness, all of everything you have right now, all of these are contaminated, right? Your body is not pure, it's contaminated, right? It's made by blood and meat. At the moment, this body, because of living with this body, we have to experience suffering of illness, disease, aging, suffering of death, because of remaining with this contaminated body, right? So our aggregates, it's called the 5 aggregates, right? Human 5 aggregates: form, feeling, discrimination, and mental formation or compositional factor is called, and consciousness. So all of these are contaminated, right? So these contaminated aggregates are the source of the suffering of aging, rest of the suffering because of that. So why our body is contaminated? Why our mind is contaminated? Then you're going to the next, the origin of suffering. These sufferings are caused by whom? Where they originated. Second level truth, called truth of origin of sufferings, which are your destructive emotions, right? Your attachment, anger, jealousy, called the mind of ego grasping. There are a number of destructive emotions. These are the one create us, called the karma, right? Actions. So negative mind create contaminated karma. Because of that karma, result of the karma, our body, our mind, everything's become contaminated, right? That's called these sufferings are caused by destructive emotions, afflictions, contaminated karmas. So when you know that, all the suffering today we're talking, like for instance, becoming alcoholisms, becoming drugs addictions. Why? Deeper level causes is your attachment. You attach to these drugs and alcohol and any kind of things. You're so much attached to this, that attachments leads you, right? Push you to the addiction on these problems, the addictions. So comes from attachment. So these destructive emotions are the causes of all these problems. Within the family, when you fight each other, right, as a family members, they're fighting, they're screaming each other. Why? As a family, they do not want to fight, of course, right? When they decided to, you marry with this or that person, it's for happiness. It's not for the fight. It's not for the problem, but we're fighting again and again. Why? Because the causes of that is too much anger there, too much hatred. So anger, hatred create bad action, violent action, and that action create suffering within the family, within the society, within the nation, like a war, right? Today, you can see that thousands of people are dying. The innocent people are dying. The war causes by anger, too much anger. So these called the destructive emotions are the causes of all these problems. Individual, too much stress, too much depressions, worry, all this mental issue you have, of course, external condition, maybe your education, maybe job as a family, there are many things to do. These are the external condition, but the main causes is within your mind, too much anger, too much attachment, too much greed, too much arrogance. So these destructive emotion creating the result, fear, worry, stress, and other things, right? So from the Buddhists I mentioned earlier, every suffering comes from the causes. There's some kind of causes, they're creating this suffering. So our job is we need to change this causes condition. If you don't change this causes condition, the result, of course, definitely it will become a gain. So that's the fundamental Buddhist view, right? Right view. So truth of suffering, the Buddha taught. After that, truth of origin of suffering, right? Which are our destructive emotion. Started from there. Everything started from our mind. But that mind, when it becomes so negative, then your decisions become negative, your actions turn into wrong, then you ended up to the wrong place. So we need to, in order to change that, we need to change these wrong consciousness, destructive emotion, we change. So third noble truth is freedom of the suffering, right? Which we wanted. So freedom of suffering, which means the suffering we've been experiencing right now, is that possible to change? But it's impossible, right? Here, Buddha says, all these sufferings we've been experiencing, you can change it, you can eliminate it, because the destructive emotions you have right now, these are just temporary. Means it's just temporary. They are not engaging to nature of your mind. Nature of your mind is very pure and clean. Destructive emotions are just temporary, right? You can change that. So that's why it's called freedom of suffering, the cessation of suffering, which means the freedom of all this bad mind, all these negative minds. Then the last, how can we achieve that freedom? How can we change this destructive emotion? Called truth path, which is the meditation, right? There are variety types of the path they're talking about. One simple is the meditation. You need to meditate. Meditate means it's not just simple one thing. There are hundreds of thousands of variety meditation around there. because we have hundreds of thousands of destructive emotions, right? In order to overcome each of them, we have a different solution, different trainings, mental training. So each of them, is called the meditation. So the meditation is something, the solution can help you to reduce your ego, your attachments, your anger, your jealousy, right? Your self-centered. Then if you go much deeper, called mind of ego grasping, right? These are the one. So our target, the main target is your destructive emotion. That's your target now. The solution to fix this destructive emotion is meditation. So that is why, for the Buddhists, why meditation is important is because of the meditation is the only can help you to stop all of these destructive emotions, right? When you are free from anger, when you are free from attachment, you can see your minds remain very calm, peace, no fear, no worry, no stress. So all of these mental issues are caused by, of course, they're external conditions, but the main of them is caused by one's own destructive emotion. So that's why we apply the meditation to deal with this destructive emotion. Now, next thing is this destructive emotion, your anger, your attachment, you need to fix it. Nobody will fix for you. That's very important, right? My anger, I have to fix myself. Your mental destructive emotion, you have to fix it. Nobody, is going to fix your destructive emotion. But in order to do that, you rely on the, many sources like our teachers, teachings and guide meditation. There are many other things can help you, but finally, you have to do yourself, right? Now, all of this variety meditation, when you do the first important meditation is when you look your mind today, our mind is wild, right? Undisciplined. It jumps everywhere, right? It jumps everywhere. It never remains in one place. So first, we need to discipline our mind, discipline one's mind. It's called the basic mindfulness meditation, right? You might be here many times. Sometimes they're called breathing meditation, mindfulness meditation, basic meditations are the very simple meditation to disciplines one's mind. So today I want to talk about that meditation, right? Very simple mindfulness meditation. So the first important, what you call the quality of the meditation is your mind remains stable, stability and clarity. These are the two things you need to progress. Stability and clarity, right? So stability, which means if you, whatever your mind's focus, that we call the object of meditation, your mind should be remain on that object, stable, right? Remain stable, called stabilities. Clarity, which means, of course, you can sit there, but sometimes you're very tired, something, whatever reason, your mind is feel dull, right? It's not jumping there, but it feels very laxity, very sleepy mind. It's called dullness, mental sinking. So if your mind remain like that way, that is not going to help to antidote the other destructive emotion. So your mind needs to be very clear, so-called clarity, very active, limpid, clarity. So stability, stable with a very active mind. You remain on the object with not just sleepy, fully aware, right? Clear. So stability and clarity is the main the quality of the meditation, mindfulness meditation. That's how we need to progress these two. So, in order to remain stability, the stable, they're the one obstacle called mental excitement, the monkey mind, right? Mental excitement or monkey mind is the mind who blocked your stability. So your mind cannot remain on the object, it jumps. You can look yourself, if you try 1 minute, just sit on your chair and think how often, how many times your mind jump, right? Jumping here, there, everywhere. That's called the mental excitement. It's the monkey mind. So that blocked your the quality of stability. So we need to, what you call, abandon this mental excitement, monkey mind. Another one is called dullness, right? Mental thinking. The dullness, mental thinking make your mind very lazy, not clear, not very active. It's like a sleepy, lazy mind. But that creates by dullness, mental thinking. So they are the two obstacles, mental excitement or monkey mind, or the dullness, the mental thinking. These are the two main obstacles to obstruct the mindfulness meditation. So we need to prevent these two. So how should we stop these two minds? You apply two kind of what you call features, two equipment, tool. One is called mindfulness. Mindfulness, which means whatever object you meditate, you should be fully aware on that object. It's called mindful. Be mindful, which means be aware the object of your meditation. Another one called introspection, alertness. Introspection, which means during your meditation, you need to monitor your mind, because sometimes your minds jump everywhere. You do not know that, right? You're thinking you are meditating, but your mind is not here. Your mind may be in shopping mall, in some other place, right? It jump. You do not know that. So introspection, the alertness, which means as soon as when your mind is jumped, you instantly recognizing, oh, my mind is jammed now. Oh, there's some kind of thought arises. So be what you call, this is like a monitoring your mind. Any destructive thought arises, you're instantly recognizing this. So that's why the introspection, as soon as when you know your mind is jammed, you know that, you bring it back on your object of your meditation. So that is why mindfulness and introspection are the two tools very important for the meditator. Always keep these two. You need to stop monkey mind and dullness, mental thinking. These are the two major obstacles, right? The quality of the meditation is clarity and stabilities. Stable on the object, same time very clear, clarity and stability on your objects. So this is the very simple explanation of mindfulness meditation. Before you meditate, you need to know, right? These two. First, meditate. The quality of meditation is not your physical posture. Is your mind remains stable, same time very clear, right? Fully aware, clarity. Then second thing is, in order to remain this kind of stability and clarity, you need to overcome these two obstacles, mental excitement or monkey mind, then another one, mental thinking or dullness. They are the two major obstacles overcome. How to do? Through the two tools, mindfulness and introspection, alertness. These the two tools helps you to overcome that. Right? These are the first you need to understand. Then when you actually meditate, the object, you can choose anything, any objects. Either your majority people choose the breathing meditation. They focus on their breath, right? When you inhale, you just aware I'm inhaling. So when you exhale, you say I'm exhaling, right? Inhaling, exhaling. So inhaling with the mindful means inhaling with the full aware, exhaling with the mindful. So your mind should remain just present moment of your breath. That's called the mindfulness meditation. That you try to focus or remain your mind just only present moment of your breath. Even 5 minutes, you learn it, do it, slowly, it trains your mind. So when your minds become really disciplined, that not only for your Buddhist practice, even your education, when you go to the school, in your class, when you fully able to focus on what teacher teach you, you can much faster pick up the subject. And when you understand, it remains longer in your brain. Otherwise, you go to the school, you sit there, your half mind is jumping out, half mind is there, you're just wasting, right? Whatever teacher teach you, even not understanding well, because your mind is not concentrating. Your body is there in the classroom, but the mind is not in the classroom. Mind is out there. So you cannot learn. Because education means mental, right? It's about mental. So your mind is not focused. So this meditation, even for your day-to-day, your education in your class can huge benefit. If you're able to concentrate, you can pick much faster understanding. What you understand, it's remain much longer, not just forget. So your half mind is there, you learn today, you little understand, go back to your home. Next day when you wake up, everything forget again. Then you go there, pick little things, half things, that have you come back to home the next day, that also forget. That's how you go 1 week, 2 weeks, months, year. Then finally the test comes very close, then panic, right? Oh, now I have a test here, I have a this, that, then become stress, then become angry, then, all this behaves 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. It makes oneself suffer, makes your families, parents worry about these things, right? All these problems. It's because of not having the mindfulness. When you're very good mindful, you can able to pay attention what the teachers say. Today I'm talking here. Some of you, you are in the Zoom here. Some of you may be a little bit understanding. Some of you are in the front of the computer, but your mind is not here. So you didn't learn anything. Maybe you don't understand anything. After finish this class, the next day is what this monk say? Oh, I'm not sure. I'm tired. I blah blah blah. Then you're wasting your time. You're wasting my times. Then what's the goal? Nothing, right? If you understand this mindfulness, you benefit. It's not benefit to me. It's not benefiting to me anything. It will benefit to you, right? When your mind is disciplined, your mind has become really good. You go to the class, you pick much easier, understand much better. You're dealing with your mental issue, you much easier. After when you found the job, you finish your class school, you graduate, you found the job. On the job, there are many things, mental issue, stress, worry, too much computation. All these mental issue you have to delete. Then you have no solution, right? Today, the professional, these people are learning this meditation to deal with their stress, their fear, worries. So you have this, you can use at the moment when you're in student, huge benefit. After you finish your school, when you're in the job, when you have family yourself, many issues arises. You can deal many of these problems through this mindfulness meditation. There's a huge benefit in your day-to-day life as a Buddhist practitioners. Future, when we talk about the Buddhahood, of course, these meditations are the key, factor to lead to the Buddhahoods. So that's how it is. I think these are the one first I want to share. Now, when we meditate, as a Buddhist, physical posture, they call the 7 physical meditation posture. These are also important, also good. If you learn these things, you can, as a young age, when you start the meditation, your mind is more fresh. It's much easier. When you're getting quite old, then your mind itself is very clumsy. Like your brain, your physical body is, it's what you call the becoming more clumsy, less energy, more difficult. So when your body is very fresh, your mind is very fresh, if you use this, train yourself every day, even 5 minutes, you can huge benefit. It's a huge benefit, more than $1 million. When you find the $1 million, you might be thinking, oh, I am very happy now, right? You think that way. But this mindfulness meditation, if you do it, at the moment I mentioned earlier, helps for your education, for your study, help for dealing with this stress and all these problems. After, when you finish school, when you're on the job, many mental issues will arise. When you have more burden, you take more responsibility, you have a more mental pressure behind there. So you can deal many of these through this mindfulness meditation. Then future, if that's possible, then becoming quite good, serious practitioner to achieve Buddhahood, this mindfulness meditation can help to lead to the Buddhahood. That is why it's huge benefit. Therefore, the first, the physical posture, what they're saying is, most of the Buddhists will remain, we have traditionally the sitting on the crossing leg, right? Across your leg. It's called the lotus postures. But there's some people who grow up in the West that you never been sit on the floor, always on the chair. So then you can sit like I call the chair posture, Maitreya Buddha's posture. So either of them is okay. Then your shoulder remain level, not one side up and down, not too back, not too front. It's just middle level. Because the long term, when you meditate, sometimes the shoulder can create pain. Some people say, 10, 20 minutes meditate, they feel like they kind of shoulder feel kind of pain. So shoulder level. Then your head, remain a little bit bent forward, and your eye not open completely, not open like that, not close completely, just slightly open, look and tip of your nose, right? Just seeing some kind of light without seeing the object, right? Then after, when you meditate, after a few minutes, some people, your eye may be automatically open. Some people, eyes automatically close. That doesn't matter. When you started, right? Then your lips, teeth remain nature. There's no special posture, nature, but your tongue touch roof of the upper teeth, just behind the upper teeth, the tongue touch there. Helps to reduce your saliva, helps to breathing through your nose, right? And then hand, there are variety, most of the time we call meditate equipoise, which means your left hand down, right hand put there, and you touch your thumb. It's make like this triangle. You keep just below the belly, just below the belly, keep that in that area. So these are the 7 meditation posture, right? That posture. Now, actually today, what kind of meditation we do? Just 5 minutes. Focus on breath, breathing meditation. So when you inhale, your mind should feel, I'm inhaling now. That's all. You should be fully aware, I'm inhaling. So when you exhale, so I'm exhaling now. Only that. So inhaling with the mind full, which means inhaling with fully aware, just fully aware and the present of the moment of your mind, breath, exhaling with the mindful, right? So your mind should remain just present moment of your breath, in, out, in, out, in, out. That's all. There's nothing to do anything. Just simple aware that present, right? Then during that meditation, little thoughts will come. Oh, I'm hungry. I want to eat pizza. Oh, I want this. I want to go there. So little thoughts always comes here. As soon as any thought comes, you need to be recognized this, right? That's why I call introspection. Be alert. Always be alert. Any little thought arises, recognize that. Oh, I'm thinking now pizza, or I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that, right? So when you recognize that thought arises, or either your mind jumps, right? Or your mind may be jumping to the shopping mall or something else, right? As soon as when they jump, instantly recognize, oh, my mind is jumped. Then what you need to do, you bring it back on your breath. So these thoughts comes, you don't need to stop these things. Sometimes when you try to stop, it makes you more irritated, brings more thoughts. So you just leave it there. Okay, these thoughts arising, I'm not judging, I'm not stopping this thing, I'm not following with these thoughts. I just aware thoughts come. Now I bring my mind on my breath. Just bring it under your breath. Just sit on your breath. Thought comes, they themselves release. It's called the waves. Waves come from ocean. Waves go back to the oceans. So these thoughts comes, then they melt it down on your mind. So comes and goes and comes and goes. Your mind just sit on your present moment of your breath. So that's how you're training, you're exercising your mind, to disciplining your mind, makes your mind very strong, right? When your minds become very strong, everything, your study, whatever you do, everything's becoming very effective, very easy, much faster result. Okay, now we're going to start the meditation just only for 5 minutes. So first, when I use they call the singing ball, right? When you hear the sound of the singing ball, you just mind should be fully concentrate on that sound, right? Then eventually that sound completely disappear. Then your mind just what you should do, just sit for the few seconds, empty space, not think about anything. Your mind not engaged to any object, just empty like space for a few seconds, right? Then your mind slowly come back aware on your breath. So when you inhale, I'm inhaling now. When you exhale, I'm exhaling now. So just sit on that present, right? We'll do a few minutes. Then when your mind is really calmed down, then slowly the end of the meditation, then when you look in your heart, you might be holding some kind of stress, worry, fear, anxiety, whatever mental issue you have right now, right? Some of you may be holding something deep of your heart. You should recognize, show your face to these mental problems, right? Then what you're doing is this mental problem, you visualize it. It's kind of psychologist things. You're visualizing as a form of smoke in your heart. Then you breathe very deep, inhaling very deep. Then when you exhale, you release these smokes with your breath. Just let them go. Don't hold it. Don't keep it. Clean it, all of this, right? So all these mental issues you have inside should visualize as a form of smoke. Then when you exhale, release them. That's the end of the meditation will do, right? So maybe some are very, very new people, never ever done meditation this. Even focus on the breath will be really difficult. You cannot focus. Even 1 second is jumping. If this is the issue, you cannot focus. Then simple meditation, what should you do? You should count the number backward. So from the 50, started from 50, each second. Say now 50, 49, 48, 47, right? Go back all the way to the 0, right? Then come back again, go like that. Maybe you can start it from number 10 to 0, 20 to 0, 30 to 0, go back like that. That will be a little bit easier for the very new meditator if you cannot focus on breath, right? So otherwise, rest of you try to focus on the breath. Breathing meditation is more difficulty, but it's more powerful, right? Okay, now we're going to start meditation just for 5 minutes. So keep your mind. Oh yeah, one important posture I forget. Meditation posture is keep your spine very straight. That's the most important posture. Keep your spine very straight. Rest of the body, just relax, not hold tight. Relax, comfortable, just spine very straight, right? So then when I hit the sinking ball, as soon as when you hear the sound of the sinking ball, you just focus on that sound. Then after sound disappear, keep your mind just empty like space for a few seconds, then focus on your breath. Okay, we're going to start now. Now the sound is completely disappeared. So keep your mind for a few seconds, just empty like space. Don't think about anything. Now slowly you should focus on your breath. When you inhale, just think yourself as inhaling. Same when you exhale. Inhaling with a mindful and exhaling with a mindful. Just to keep your mind on present moment with your breath. Any destructive thought arises, immediately recognize them. Don't judge, don't follow with them. Just leave it there. Your mind, bring it back on your breath. So inhaling with a mindful, and exhaling with a mindful. Make sure when your thought arises, any destructive thought arises, recognize immediately and don't judge them, don't stop them, just leave it there. Your mind bring it back on your breath. And inhaling with a mindful, exhaling with a mindful. Slowly, when your mind is really calmed down, and you should look in your own heart and recognize if you have a depressions, stress, anxiety, worries, fears, any mental pains and sufferings. Also emotion like anger, hatred, jealousy, anything. You have recognized them. So all of those mental pains and sufferings you have right now, visualize them as a form of smoke in your heart. At the moment, whatever pain inside your mind, visualize them as a form of smoke in your heart. So when you exhale, you should release them with your breath. Take a deep breath and release them. So do it again and again. So purify, clean them. Any mental pains and suffering you have, visualize as a form of smoke in your heart. When you exhale, you should release them. Finally, all of those pains and emotions you have are completely purified. It clean it up. So keep your mind in the nature, very pure, very clean, and that feel, that experience, the joy, the calmness of the nature of your mind. Okay, so this is the very, very simple mindfulness meditation. And sometimes when you go to the school, when you have really mental issues like problems, or either in your classroom, either in your parents, whatever issue makes you really stressed, very angry, anxiety, any feeling comes, use this meditation, 5 minutes, right? Just clean them in a form of smoke, clean them. It's much better when you go to the bed with a very clean mind, much better relaxed. Right? A very disturbing mind cannot sleep well. Then morning, very tired. Then again, you go to the school again with this, a tired kind of the feeling at the school, not learning well because of your mind is too tired. Then you keep going like that. So it makes you a really difficult life. So some situation you cannot fix it. Some problem you can fix it. But the mental issue, you can, everything you can fix it. So do this simple meditation and clean it up, all of these 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. It's really, eventually it's become much easier for you. You become really familiar. So first difficult, but if you do it again, again, then eventually less anger, less hatred, less jealousy, right? Less attachment, greed, arrogance. These destructive emotions, when they're reducing, much, much more happier. And that's the essence of Buddhism, Buddha Dharma. Buddha's teaching is to reduce your destructive emotion. That's the main practice. Either you can recite the prayer, even you have no idea, you do not know the prayers, but as long as if you're able to reduce this destructive emotion, you are in the right track. You are practicing Buddhism, right? So it's not, Buddhism doesn't mean only do some prayers. And of course, these are very good, prayers, all kind of things. But some situations you cannot do, but reducing destructive emotion is the one of the essence of the Buddhist practice. Finally, when we talk about enlightenment, Buddhahood, which means mainly the freedom of all your destructive emotion, right? Freedom of your destructive emotion, even the imprint of destructive emotions. That's called Buddhahood. It's some kind of inner quality. Now, it's not external or historical Buddha, Shakyamuni. That's the historical, right? Everybody, we all have Buddha nature, right? As a Buddhist, we believe everybody has Buddha nature. So you put it practice, you reduce your destructive emotion, this life much happier, your family will be much happier, for your next life, much better rebirth, right? And next life, better. Too much anger, too much attachment, too much destructive emotion. You are not happy, your families are not happy, this life suffering, of course, next life, more suffering because you accumulate more negative karma, then getting worse, right? That is why the main purpose of practice is to try to reduce this destructive emotion. It's very important. Okay, thank you. We're going to stop here. We have a few minutes left. Any questions? Welcome.
Yes, any question? Geshe, let me have one question. I think a lot of time, I think we saw students and many people familiar with the mindfulness meditation, right? In Buddhism, is that the only one or anything else? And I think maybe there's different level of meditation or something like that. But most of the time, we only see is a more popular one called mindfulness meditation.
Mindfulness meditation for the Buddhists is like an elementary school subject. It's just beginners. You are learning alphabet. So this mindfulness is like learning the alphabet, the first stages. Of course, I mentioned earlier, there's hundreds different of type of the meditation. Meditation on compassion, meditation on love, then much higher meditations, the philosophy called emptiness meditation, which is very difficult. But that type of meditation, you need to be study very hard first, all the philosophy. This is very, very unique Buddhist practice. None of like a mindfulness meditation is common for Buddhists, non-Buddhists, Hindu, everybody has, a mindfulness meditation. It's common. But this is just, I mentioned earlier, for the Buddhists, this is elementary kind of school. We are at that stage. But furthermore, there are many, many. So one of the unique I mentioned earlier called the emptiness meditation. And that meditation, without study the philosophy, you cannot be able to meditate that because you do not know what that means, right? So, and just study alone, not enough. You have to have what you call a skillful teacher, the rich understanding on Dharma, can explain. Just read the text, you cannot easy to understand. It's very tough. Like one of the very popular the text called Heart Sutra, right? Everybody reciting Heart Sutra, right? When you go to the temple, it is a Chinese or Vietnamese, Korean, whatever temple you go, that Heart Sutra is one of the common sutra. Everybody, Mahayana Buddhists, all they reciting that. But the Heart Sutra, the essence of the subject of the Heart Sutra is the emptiness philosophy. So we're reciting the sutra, but we do not know the essence of the meaning, what the subject the Buddha talking is called the emptiness. Very difficult to understand, very powerful meditation, because the wisdom of emptiness can eliminate all of your destructive emotion. One of the most powerful antidote attitude toward all of your destructive emotion is wisdom of emptiness. So that meditation is more tough, more difficult. It's not easy to understand. That is why Buddhist, we have 4 schools, right, since Buddha time. 4 schools divided by the explanation of the emptiness philosophy. Because it's very hard, so lower school, gross level explanation, then higher, that your philosophy, the views becoming higher. So that is why 4 school divided by the explanation of the ultimate truth. So that meditation, it's the one of the most powerful, most important, but it's take lots of study on these things. But there are many hundreds of different, compassion, love, bodhicitta, generosity, patience, tolerance, everything's have meditation. So there's hundreds of meditations. General, when we talk about the meditation, that's very important to know. When we talk about meditation, all the hundreds of thousands of variety meditation, you put it into 2 categories. One called single pointers of meditation. Another meditation called analytical meditation. So don't think meditate means just keep your mind focused on breath, not only that. This is one part of single pointers of meditation, because sometimes they use stabilization meditation, either in the Sanskrit called shamatha, karma biting, right? Single point of some meditation, that's the one part of the meditation. Try to keep your mind just focus on one single object, right? The another meditation called analytical meditation. It's more powerful, more effective. Most of the great masters, they meditate analytical meditation. You need to analyze. Like a compassion meditations come out of analytical meditation, right? You feel compassion to entire beings through the reason. You have to think many, suffering, all rarity things, then feeling arise, right? You feel compassion. That's called meditation. Like for instance, compassion meditation, we are not focused on compassion, right? Compassion meditation, what that mean? You feel the compassion. Breathing meditation, mindfulness meditation means you're focused on your breath, right? Be mindful on your breath. Breath is the object of meditation. But compassion is not that same. Compassion is not object of meditation. Compassion, you have to feel it. You feel the compassion to entire beings. So that feeling, not easy to calm, right? You have to think many things. Other suffering, there's many kind of state you have to go till when you really feel, I wish entire beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. When you feel that wish called compassion. So that wish, you have to feel it, right? When you experience that wish, you say, you are meditating on compassion. It's not compassion, it's the object, right? Object is other sentient beings. That's the object. You seeing their suffering, then you feel, I wish them to be free from suffering. That which called compassion. So that kind of feeling, you have to use analytical meditation to analyze, right? And emptiness meditation, of course, is analytical meditation. Most of the important meditations comes from analytical, to analyze. That is why, as a Buddhist, people may think practicing Buddhism or Dharma, which means you just sit there, you just meditate, right? Just simple thing, or monks and nuns, which means, or they just go to the temple, they just pray, they just meditate. Not that only, right? We need to studies, decades and decades. Imagine Buddha taught hundreds of volumes, texts, right? More than hundreds of volumes. Each volume have 400 to 500 pages. So we call the sutra. Sutras are the textbook. These are not just holy scripture, just put it into your altar. These are the textbook. You study, right? Then you analyze, research, investigate, then finally you put it into the meditation. So that's called the analytical meditations are the more important. Like for instance, to stop your anger, hatred, just simple breathing meditation is not enough. It can help for temporary, but if you really want to get rid of your anger to that person, you have to feel love to that person, right? When you feel sincerely love to that person, your anger will change. So that love, not easy. You have to think more, right? More thinking. So that's called analytical meditation. So analytical meditation are the powerful meditation, can overcome your destructive emotion.
Geshe. Anyone else have any question?
Or any questions? You don't need to hesitate. Don't need to hesitate, right? Any questions, even if they're not related with the dharma, related with your life, something like stressful, something difficult to deal with these problems, from the Buddhist perspective, how to deal, maybe Western psychologists way, they're talking about many things. From the Buddhist psychologist way, how should we deal with this mental issue when I have this problem, that problem? Or my parents always be bothering me, I'm become really stressful with them. Or my parents are always shouting each other, it's really disturbing me. Or whatever, right? Whatever situations. So as I remain in samsara means in a mundane life, we always have something problems around there. So the many problem, you have to fix it, right? You're not looking somebody, you're not just complain and just accuse them. That will not going to fix the problem. Certain problem you cannot fix it, then you accept it. Certain problem you can fix it. So you need to know how to fix these things. Your faith to the Buddhism. Okay, and this is my religion. I have faith, but from that religion, how can it help me to overcome this or that problems? That's how you need to search. It's not like, oh, something like very holy. It's something there. Religious faith there is nothing to related with my day-to-day struggle. That's not about that. Buddha Dharma is actually for overcome your sufferings. That's the Dharma. It's like a medicine to cure your problems. So, but you need to know how to do this. So that's why when you look to the Buddha Dharma in that way, it's not just something holy miracle things. Okay, so it's almost 3:30, right? Now it's that 1.5 hours our time. So if you don't have any questions, then we're going to do finally the dedication. But Maya, do you have anything to say?
I think thank you so much, Geshe. We have another session next week. Just remind everyone to remember for next week.
Okay, so finally, whatever merit, the virtues we accumulate through, discuss on meditation, through the meditation, you should dedicate these virtues, merit, to benefit to entire sentient beings, right? Mahayana Buddhist. We need to concern entire beings, including people you hate, people you dislike. You should dedicate to them also, to benefit for all of them. And world peace. That's the most important. Then in the urgent right now, the few countries that have a war, right? The many innocent children are dying, the name of the war. So we should really dedicate to the people who passed away and the victim of the families who are suffer now mentally, physically. So you should share your virtues to them, at least something benefit to them, right? Then you should dedicate to yourself, to your families, at least to becoming good human beings in this life, not troublemakers, right? At least to something help to the other beings. My life should dedicate to benefit to entire sentient beings. Then that virtue finally to achieve Buddhahood oneself for sake of all beings. So that kind of dedications are important. Then if you have any individual dedications you want to add it, you can add it. I will go to do a few dedication prayers here. Senamdi Danje Sibaye, Komba Tomni, Junji Datude, Kata Nata Chivi Latube, Sibi Tole, Draw Trevor Show. Jambe Payu Chitra Kimbadan, Kondo Sambo Tian Tijin, Teta Kuji Jesu Taloche. Jawa Teta Tamje Rapto Mo, to some Sheke Jawa Tamji, Mo Kama Choto Nava. Daji Jive Tawa Dekrinja, Sambo Juji Rat. Ngowaraji kanri rawi kubi shingam su pendante wa mali chungre ni jere se wa tinzin jazo. Shabi sidi bato tenjuru chi chanchu simchu rinpo chi ma ke pa nam keju chi keba nyampa meba. Kone kongdo pewa sho yangbe gengam chi da yunjo di nemo chuzo la su mi chunshi. Dronam chunjo diki tsowa dan pinzo pejo le tso keju chi penze ti tenpa sibe ta nyeto longi nambar mi yoshi tenpe nang tsu shi ne tenpa la ichi nyebe tato kangwar sho pama simje tamche teta dejo chi nyeto tamche tato tonga chanju semba kama sushu pa teta kunji melam tuk churu chi. Okay, thank you very much.
Geshe. Thank you, everyone. See you next week. I am.